thinks that. At no point in any of the insane, vulgar, and unhinged ramblings that issued from Bradley did I not entertain every proposition he made for collecting the debt that he owed me. It even offered him on multiple occasions monetarily.
You need some new material, Diogenes.
I don't need any new material. All right? I offered him multiple opportunities to get off that high he'd gotten himself onto by running his mouth. I said, listen, Brad, if you don't have the money, you don't want to pay the money, there's some concern there. How about you just issue an apology? And then you know what he did?
Don't quit your day job!
Fuck you. He said he engaged in vulgarities. He engaged in profanities. He laughing at screaming in other ways. He wanted to hurt me. He wanted to hurt my wife. He wanted to hurt my loved ones. He wanted to hurt people that I cared about. We should have a match where we have a sanctioned fight so that neither party can claim that they were being assaulted or battered under the state laws because they don't provide for mutual. The issue for Brad was that he didn't want to pay his debt unless he had an opportunity to physically hurt me. That I would provide that in a state to physically hurt me. That I would provide that in a sanctioned environment, but he would have to agree that he would sign the documents agreeing that he did make the debt, he did have to pay me the money, and then I would happily engage in consensual combat with him, sanctioned in a way that neither of us could claim that either party assaulted or the other person or attacked them or anything like that. And again, I see Sig, running his fucking mouth in the chat. Guess what, Sig? Brad doesn't do what he says he's going to do. So it'll be a cold day in hell before the man who ran his mouth and bet me money he won't pay me tells me he's not going to assault me, or tells me he's not going to cry to the police if he gets the bad end of that fight, because he absolutely is untrustworthy. All right? So I have something to lose. Brad probably comes onto the application and runs his mouth because he has nothing to lose. Because there's no one that loves him, that relies on him, that depends on him. Shut your mouth. Okay. All right. Here we go. Thank you for the opportunity.
Here's what I would like to know, ladies and gentlemen. I just have one question. If anybody can honestly just help me understand, why do we go into rooms and spaces and stages with people we don't like? If you don't like certain speakers and certain personalities, why don't you just block them? Why do you engage with them? Why do you go to their rooms? Why do you open private rooms to talk shit about them? Can somebody help me understand why y'all entertain and interact with people you don't like and go on stages and fight with them?
Yeah, it's because only somebody who makes you feel uncomfortable in your own skin can make you a better person.
Well, that's kind of
Thank you, Yogi.
Yes, Steve. Hold on. I'm going to jump in, Steve, real quick. I just wanted to let everyone know that they still want to participate in the book reading. Who's doing the thumbs down? Who did that? Don't let me catch you. No longer promoting the book reading. It's weird. We're going to read. I understand that not everybody on this stage is a book reader, but as John likes to say, it is the oldest and the best external hard drive. It's a word called books. And we're going to continue reading from this book. It's a good book. It was fun reading through it. Some of you that were reading were on the stage. They're on the stage tonight. We welcome everyone that to participate. You will be called upon to read out loud, but everyone's welcome to participate. You will not be able to interrupt, though. It's going to be a different type of room. It's going to start at 4:20 Eastern Standard Time. And if you or John, if you guys want to post in the chat or up above, you get the reading material. Correct me if I'm wrong. We left off on verse 49. Is that correct? Oh, I thought it was lower than that. John, no, it was about that. I think we left off on verse 49. I remember feeling a particular kind of way because it wasn't exactly 50. So it was either 48 or 49. Anyhow. All right. Hopefully you guys are feeling better. Got a little anxiety out of the system. I welcome you guys to come. Steve, I hope you could stick around for the book reading. I think your voice would be great in reading out loud. That would be amazing. Holly, I believe you know how to read. Jebediah, you've heard of books. You're welcome to stay. Yeah, you're all welcome to stay. You're all welcome to stay.
Yeah, it's called The Tao Te Ching, written over 2,300 years ago. It's the second most translated book in human history. You're gonna love it. If you've never experienced
It needs conversion. Thank you. It needs conversion. Thank you.
You know, I will say.
If anybody's been reading, John, sorry, I just want to let them know that I added the PDF link at the top. Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say you've experienced House up until now, but until you read a book with other people on the stage and you actually create something together, you really have no common bonds or desire to even like each other. But at least you can remember that experience of reading the Tao Te Ching with that person and, educating yourself. So in retrospect, when you ask yourself if it was worth it to be here for 5 years arguing and screaming and raising your blood pressure,
I will be wearing a onesie bathing suit for this event.
I might lose, man. I just might lose. You know, in a fucking onesie bathing suit.
What's the problem with, find it out? Am I popular anywhere?
I will say this about Akima, my personal experience, when he loses a bet, he pays up immediately.
Same for anybody beat me in the bet, Steve, but thanks for that.
I didn't say what the bet was or what I won. No problem. You mess with me anytime you want.
Just for the record, I bet it on comedy, bet it on Trump. I lost. Clearly, I lost.
Oh, I hate that you made that bet. It was so obvious she was going to lose. But God,
well, to be specific, it would be that Trump would win by more than 100 electoral votes. That was the bet, and I won.
That wasn't the bet. The bet was just a straight up bet. He might win.
Okay.
It was a straight up bet.
I'll take your word for it. And also, it would be remiss of me to say that the other person I had a bet with was JB. I won't say what the bet was, but he lost and he paid me immediately also.
Well, I lost to you and Anthony.
I offered to bet anyone that would take the bet, predicting that Trump was going to win. And 3 different people took that bet, and all 3 of those people paid up. They didn't pay me cash. They all donated to my favorite charity, and they gave me a screenshot to prove it. So some people do pay the bets.
So PTR, I updated my profile. It's the 49th verse in this 150-page document.
And we don't even have the title yet, although we've kind of noodled around the topic. I will be sending private messages to those involved in the Rational Discussion Group. So Anson, please check your back channel soon. And so just stick around. We're going to have programming all day.
with the cast of characters, no.
That's why I came in. I couldn't figure out what was going on with the 4 o'clock rational thinking room. So I'll hang around and see what happens.
Yep, you got it. We're going to do a little book reading here in about 7 minutes, and then that'll flow right into the Rational Discussion Group. And for those that don't know, the Rational Discussion Group, we open the room at 1:50 Pacific time. And the reason we do that is we want to allow people to get in there so then we can open the room and have a discussion that starts at 2 o'clock sharp Pacific time. And we leave the chat open, unlike some discussion groups. Thank you.
What are we reading today before the rational thinking room?
Oh, John, this is your territory.
So if you click the link above, you will get a PDF, and it's called the Tao Te Ching. It's written by Lao Tzu in ancient China. It's about governance, philosophy, psychology, wisdom, mysticism, philosophy. I think you're gonna love it if you've never heard it or read from it. It's the second most translated book in human history.
Yeah, there were some interesting takeaways from yesterday's reading. Hopefully, we get a similar crowd that we can build upon. And when we're done with this book, we'll pick new books. The second book that we'll be doing is The Art of War. So we're gonna get to a lot of things. Eventually, we'll get to Twilight. We're noodling on the idea of reading out loud Huck Finn, just to challenge the sensibilities of certain people. But yeah, we're gonna be reading a lot of things.
John, do you already have a curated list of books you want to go through on Clubhouse?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of anything here. I would love to see, a room dedicated to actually just reading one book.
I would love to get us to all read Common Sense by Thomas Paine. It's a very short read, but it's a very important read. It's quite literally what led to the revolution. I don't know why FEMA would give me the fire. Thomas Paine was the one that started the revolution that led to the United States of America. And as an anarchist, I can't believe that you're in support of that, but it's okay. All right, people. Who's going to be reading? Because if you're not going to read, I'm going to gently you to the audience. If you plan on participating in the reading material can be found up above in the link. All you have to do is click on it. We will start. John kicks us off. He will read 5 verses, and then we will go to the next reader. And we will do this for 30 minutes, and then we have to jump over to another room. So we'll do 30 minutes of reading, starting in about 3 minutes. John started on verse 49. And again, anyone that wants to participate, feel free. We're losing people that don't like to read. Okay. Hopefully the people that are... Listen, if I call on you and you don't read, it's going to be hell to pay. We do not need that kind of person in here. Let's see. Holly, you're in for reading? Holly is reading. Okay, Min, you know how to read? Okay. You know how to read. You have to do it once. You have to do it twice. You have to do it 3 more minutes. FEMA, I don't know if you do read a lot, but you know how to read, right?
I don't have any comprehension skills, but I can read words and don't know.
Okay, now that would Angel, you're a reader, right? Angel, this is what we are. Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. I was talking to somebody else. I was listening to everyone. Sorry, I'll talk to you. That's fine.
Are you gonna help us read tonight?
Yeah, I want that Bible.
We're gonna be reading 2 minutes, yes.
Okay.
And then you, Brad, you're gonna sit right over here. Bradley.
Sure. What do you want me to read?
Link at the top. We're gonna start in 2 minutes. John's gonna kick her. The verse is 49 that we started with. John, actually, just so we can keep it symmetrical, can you read the first 6 and then everybody else will read 5? That way, to just take us from 49 to 55, and then we'll pick up and we'll do the PTR order. We've got about 1 minute left. Perfect. Glad people are sticking around. Again, if anybody wants to get up here and read, that would be great. All right. John, go ahead. Take it away, sir.
Okay, so I like to, think about this as like a meditation. So, take the deepest breath of the day. Hold it for 10 seconds. This is the 49th Tao. The master has no mind of her own. She works with the mind of the people. She is good to people who are good. She is also good to people who aren't good. This is true goodness. She trusts people who are trustworthy. She also trusts people who aren't trustworthy. This is true trust. The master's mind is like space. People don't understand her. They look to her and wait. She treats them like her own children. The master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. He knows that he is going to die, and he has nothing left to hold on to. No illusions in his mind, no resistances in his body. He doesn't think of his actions. They flow from the core of his being. He holds nothing back in life. Therefore, he is ready for death, as nourishes them, maintains them, cares for them, comforts them, protects them, takes them back to itself, creating without possessing, acting without expecting, guiding without interfering. That is why love of the Tao is in the very nature of things. In the beginning was the Tao. All things issue from it. All things return to it. To find the origin, trace back to the manifestations. When you recognize the children and find the mother, you will be free of sorrow. If you close your mind in judgments and traffic with desires, your heart will be troubled. If you keep your mind from judging and aren't led by the senses, your heart will find peace. Seeing into darkness is clarity. Knowing how to yield is strength. Use your own light and return to the source of light. This is called practicing eternity. The great way is easy, yet people prefer the side paths. Be aware when things are out of balance. Stay centered within the Tao. When rich speculators prosper, while farmers lose their land, when government officials spend money on weapons instead of cures, when the upper class is extravagant and irresponsible, while the poor have nowhere to turn, all this is robbery and chaos. It is not in keeping with the Tao. Whoever is planted in the Tao will not be rooted up. Whoever embraces the Tao will not slip away. Her name will be held in honor from generation to generation. Let the Tao be present in your life, and you will become genuine. Let it be present in your family, and your family will flourish. Let it be present in your country, and your country will be an example to all countries in the world. Let it be present in the universe, and the universe will sing. How do I know this is true? By looking inside myself. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It doesn't know about the union of male and female, yet its penis can stand erect. So intense is its vital power. It can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse. So complete is its harmony. The master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly, without desire. He never expects results, thus he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old.
Alright, that was good, that was good. I'm gonna go, it's like, it started 56, I believe. Let me get there, hold on. When I unmuted myself, I flickered myself out of the link, sorry. Sorry for the delay, guys. Okay. Those who know, do not talk. Those who talk, don't know. Close your mouth. Block your senses. Blunt your sharpness. Untie your knots. Soften your glare. Settle your dust. This is the primal identity. Be like the Tao. It can be approached or withdrawn from. It is or harmed, honored or brought into disgrace. master says, I let go of the law and people become honest. I let go of economics and people become prosperous. I let go of religion and people become serene. I let go of all desires for the common good, and the good becomes common as grass. If a country is governed with tolerance, the people are comfortable and honest. If a country is governed with repression, the people are depressed and crafty. When the will to power is in charge, the higher the ideals, the lower the results. Try to make people happy, and you lay the groundwork for misery. Try to make people moral, and you lay the groundwork for vice. Thus the master is content to serve as an example, and not to impose her will. She is pointed but doesn't pierce, straightforward but supple, radiant but easy on the eyes. For governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation. The mark of a moderate man is the freedom from his own ideas, tolerant like the sky, all-pervading like the sunlight, firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind. He has no destination in view and makes use of anything. Life happens to bring his way. Nothing is impossible for him because he has let it go. He can care for the people's welfare as a mother cares for a child. Governing a large country is like frying a small fish. You spoil it with too much poking. Center your country in the Tao, and evil will have no power. Not that it isn't there, but you'll be able to step out of its way. Give evil nothing to oppose, and it will disappear by itself. I'll stop there, and we'll start, Nye, if you could start at 61.
Okay, when a country obtains great power, it becomes like the sea. All streams run downward into it. The more powerful it grows, the greater the need for humility. Humility means trusting the Tao, thus never needing to be defensive. A great nation is like a great man. When he makes a mistake, he realizes it. Having realized it, he admits it. Having admitted it, he corrects it. He considers those who point out his flaws as the most benevolent teachers. He thinks of his enemy as the shadow that he himself casts. If a nation is centered in the Tao, if a nation is centered in the Tao, if it nourishes its own people, I gotta slow down, and doesn't meddle in the affairs of others, it will be a light to all nations in the world. 62. The Tao is the center of the universe, the good man's treasure, the bad man's refuge. Honors can be bought with fine words, respect can be won with good deeds, but the Tao is beyond all value, and no one can achieve it. Thus, when a new leader is chosen, don't offer to help them with your wealth or your expertise. Offer instead to teach them about the Tao. Why did the ancient masters esteem the Tao? Because being one with the Tao, when you seek, you find, and when you make a mistake, you are forgiven. That is why everybody loves it. Act without doing, work without effort, think of the small as large and the few as many. Confront the difficult while it is still easy. Accomplish the great task by a series of small acts. The master never reaches for the great, thus she achieves greatness. When she runs into difficulty, she stops and gives herself to it. She doesn't cling to her own comfort, thus are no problems are no problem for her. 64. What is rooted is easy to nourish. What is recent is easy to correct. What is brittle is easy to break. What is small is easy to scatter. Prevent trouble before it arises. Put things in order before they exist. The giant pine tree grows from a tiny sprout. The journey of 1,000 miles starts from beneath your feet. Rushing into action, you fail. Trying to grasp things, you lose them. Forcing a project to completion, you ruin what was almost right. Therefore, the master takes action by letting things take their course. He remains as calm at the end as at the beginning. He has nothing to lose. What he desires is non-desire. What he learns, what he learns is to unlearn. He simply reminds people of who they have always been. He cares about nothing but the Tao. Thus, he can care for all things. 65. The ancient masters didn't try to educate the people, but kindly taught them to not know. When they think that they know the answers, people are difficult to guide. When they know that they don't know, people can find their own way. If you want to learn how to govern, avoid being clever or rich. The simplest pattern is the clearest. Content with an ordinary life, you can show all people the way back to their own true nature.
Awesome. Brad, you want to jump in at 66?
Give me a second here. What do you want me to read? Chapter 66? All right, here we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it power. If you want to govern people, you must place yourself below them. If you want to lead the people, you must learn how to follow them. The master is above the people, and no one feels oppressed. She goes ahead of the people, and no one feels manipulated. The whole world is grateful to her because she competes with no one. Because she competes with no one can compete with her. Did you need me to go on?
Yes, please. If you could read to number 70, that would be great.
Holy shit. All right. Wow. Some say that my teaching is nonsense. Others call it lofty but impractical. But to those who have looked inside themselves, this nonsense makes perfect sense. And to those who put it into practice, this loftiness has roots that go deep. I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures. Simple in actions and in thoughts. You return to the source of being, patient with both friends and enemies. You accord with the way things are, compassionate towards yourself. You reconcile all beings in the world. The best athlete wants his opponent to at his best. The best general enters the mind of his enemy. The best businessman serves the good. The best leader follows the will of the people. All of them embody the virtue of non-competition. Not that they don't love to compete, but they do it in the spirit of play. In this, they are like children, and in harmony with the Tao. Okay. The generals have a saying: rather than make the first move, it is better to wait and see. Rather than advance an inch, it is better to retreat a yard. This is called going forward without advancing, pushing back without using weapons. There is no greater misfortune than understanding your enemy. Underestimating your enemy means thinking that he is evil. Thus, you destroy your 3 treasures and become an enemy yourself. With 2 great forces oppose each other, the victory will go to the one that knows how to yield.
All right, let's Brad stopped at 69. And Keith, you want to start with
I just stopped at 70. Did you need me to go on?
Yeah, you went through 69, did you, Bob?
69, you stopped at 70.
Okay, that's fine. Akima, go ahead and give us the next spot.
My teachers are easy to understand, easy to put into practice. Your intellect will never grasp them. And if you try to practice them, you fail. My teachers are older than the world. How do you grasp their meaning? If you want to know me, look inside your heart. Not knowing is true knowledge. Assuming to know is disease. First realize that you are sick. Then you can move toward him. The master is her own physician. She has healed herself of all knowing. Thus, she is truly whole. When they lose their sense of awe, people turn to religion. When they no longer trust themselves, they begin to depend upon authority. The master, the people want you without what happened. The Tao is all it needs. It overcomes without competing, answers without speaking a word, arrives without being summoned, accomplishes without a plan. It never covers the whole universe, and though the meshes are wide, it doesn't let a thing slip through. If you realize that all things change, there's nothing you would try to hold on to. If you aren't afraid of dying, there's nothing you can't achieve. Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's plate. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are that you'll cut yourself.
All right, very cool. Angel, can you pick up where he left off?
75, right?
Correct. Yeah, and why don't we do this, because we've got a few people up. Just read 3, then we'll go to B Master. Just read 3 of them, and then we'll go to B Master.
Just 3, okay. Okay, gotcha. When taxes are too high, people go hungry. When the government is too instructive, people lose their spirit. Act for the people's benefit. Trust them. Leave them alone. Men are born soft and supple. Dead, they are stiff and hard. Plants are born tender and plain. Dead, they are brittle and dry. Thus, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. The hard and stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail. As it acts in the world, the towel is like bending of a bow. As it acts in the world, the towel is like the bending of a bow. The top is bent downward, the bottom is bent up. It adjusts excess and deficiency so that there is perfect balance. It takes from what is too much and gives to what isn't enough. Those who try to control, who use force to protect their power, go against the direction of the power. They take from those who don't have enough and give to those who have far too much. The master can keep giving because there is no end to her wealth. She acts without expectation, succeeds without taking credit, and doesn't think that she is better than anyone else. Am I talking there?
Yeah, that's good.
That's right?
Yeah. B Master, you want to pick that up? B Master, you with us?
Sure.
Perfect. Give us 3.
Okay, I'm gonna have to close it out. I gotta go back to it. Okay. To unmute myself. Nothing in the world. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet, for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart, because he has given up helping. He is people's greatest help. True words seem paradoxical. Failure is an opportunity. If you blame someone else, there is no end to the blame. Therefore, the master fulfills her own obligations and corrects her own mistakes. She does what she needs to do and demands nothing of others. If a country is governed wisely, its inhabitants will be content. Bullshit, I'm just kidding. They enjoy the labor of their hands and don't waste time inventing labor-saving machines. Ooh. Since they dearly love their homes, they aren't interested in travel. There may be a few wagons and boats, but these don't go anywhere. There may be an arsenal of weapons, but nobody ever uses them. People enjoy their food, take pleasure in being with their families, spend weekends working in their gardens, delight in the doings of the neighborhood. And even though the next country is so close that people can hear its roosters crowing and its dogs barking, they are content to die of old age without ever having gone to see it. You want it? I think that's right.
You know what number?
81.
Are you reading next, Master?
The work? Oh, I was.
Okay, sorry.
True words aren't eloquent. Eloquent words aren't true. Wise men don't need to prove their point. Men who need to prove their point aren't wise. The master has no possessions. The more he does for others, the happier he is. The more he gives to others, the wealthier he is. The Tao nourishes by not forcing, by not dominating, the master leads. Would you like me to read the notes? Sure. Okay, well, that's a lot of notes. I can do chapter 1.
I have to read the notes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just go to the next.
That's it?
Yeah.
No.
We're reading 3 each.
That's it? And now it's on the chapter now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're through those verses. So why don't we just take this opportunity? We got about 9 minutes before the next room starts, and let's just talk about what we've read.
I think the Tao would be an anarchist, reparationist.
Yes!
And I also feel like it was written for today. Like, it don't seem like it was written on the.
For a while ago, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Wait, you think the Tao that inspired communist China is anarchist?
Yeah, that was how it sounded like it.
Phenomenal. John, what do you think? It sounded to me like it's not making it a position. It's actually, the lesson is supposed to be that.
If you're right, you're wrong. If you're wrong, you might be right. It's more of just letting go and just letting things be. Which also means, the idea of getting rid of government is just as wrong as creating a more powerful government. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very smart book, and so it's so universal that I'm not trying to offend you, Hakima, but I think people project onto it what they want to see. And the unfortunate reversal of your position, Hakima, or people who believe that it's an anarchist book or a communistic book, it's a governance book. So whoever is rising to power or in power will utilize the wisdom to manage the situation. But some people will just come on social audio, complain about it, but they read it. So it's a very smart book. I would encourage you to read it a couple times and try to really ingest it, because what it does is it creates a large language model, and it's a lot of, positions and words. It's what they call a book. But again, it's a very smart book. And one of the reasons why it's so smart is because so many people have read it. It's global. So if you can master this book and you can master the Bible, you are now a subject matter expert who can have intelligent conversations about these topics that hopefully edify and lift you up in power and health and wealth and love. So that's my opinion.
Hey guys, I was just gonna say, I'm like in the middle of my work day, so I'm like trying to rush through, what you guys are reading. I'm looking, I'm listening, and I'm like, maybe I might want to read this one.
No, I can figure out that. No offense to you, I think most people gonna class things first, but you got to write that book and you bring it a couple times. The book is saying a lot. It's not just saying I'm anarchist. It's saying way more than that. You know what I'm saying? And not that definitely. It's not definitely saying.
Well, I think it forces you to look at it. Hold on, Andrew, I'll say this really quick. It definitely forces you to look in and reflect. That's it. That's all I want to say. It's very reflective reading.
I love that the part that Zima wrote was exactly what her life looks like.
Right?
I thought that was so cool.
I missed the part about a bag of dicks.
Oh.
I don't understand what.
It was a hot shot for me. It's okay. Yeah. Anything else, Mark? I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No, like it was delightful to hear your excitement when it talked about roots
wanted to speak to. Angel, go ahead, Angel. I cut you off. I'm sorry if you're there.
I was gonna say that I would like to do a combination of this book and the 48 Laws of Power. Kind of read them simultaneously. You know, if I could run through maybe a chapter each, I'd like to see how that goes.
Sorry. Just to comment on how short the book was. Go ahead, Beamer. No, I just wanted to say, I'm trying to remember, I saw this thing where if you want to remember something, you make like little games to remember it. And I don't remember where, but the things that I took from it, I remember I said to myself, remember this spicy, and it was SPC, and it's simplicity, patience, and compassion, right? To remember those things. I thought, oh yeah, I really like that. Simplicity, I think it was simplicity, but it's with S. Simplicity, patience, and then compassion. And then I loved the part that I started on because people always tell me this, well, specifically my love, every time I get upset and I say like, look, this is all effed, this is messed up, and he'll ask me in the moment of like despair or frustration, he says, what's the opportunity? And I love that his mind started as just like, failure's an opportunity. You know, like look for the opportunity. Because as soon as you're starting to blame somebody, then it's just going to be an endless blaming thing. And then the fact that you could be just so content in what you have, and everybody just enjoys everything to like all of it. It's so beautiful. It felt like I felt that peace, and I just thought that was so cool. The other thing was the spicy that I wanted to remember, and then there was something like the compassion, just something in humility. I thought they were such great. Oh, the rigidness. To remember not to be rigid, because rigid is just, you're just going to break, right? But if you can be flexible and adaptable, that's what's like life-giving, and it speaks life. And that was inspiring for me. I was like, yeah, you know what? That's a great, instead of being frustrated and like, okay, no, I didn't get my way, you know, but then it's like, wait a second, you should flow, and you could just like have this flow with, I thought that was so cool. So this, it was like this softness, so being gentle and pliable and being able to just flow. I'm trying to think of other things I'm looking, but yeah. So great.
I see. Does somebody want to post the link up for the discussion group, the rational discussion group?
We cannot, we're not live.
Oh, I can change that.
I'll be back.
This is the first time that I've ever come into this space and you guys are here.
Started it yesterday. It's a 2-night tradition.
Glad I'm not.
Can I ask, how do people feel, you know, reading or listening a wisdom book versus listening to road rage conversations? Like, what do you think might be better for your mental health or mental diet? It's just a question I'm asking.
I like a healthy wisdom book. A little chaos, a little drama, a little intellect. I actually like that because right before it we had the crash out room, and so then we read and now we're going into the rational discussion. I feel like we're giving people a little bit of each. They want all of these things. But as we learned yesterday, you can't eat your cake and have it too.
Well, one of the things that I've kind of taken in observation of this application is that people do have some valid freedom, right? And I think, unfortunately, there has yet to be a space that has been created that kind of gives way to solution-based opportunity. You know, I just think that is, and I love whoever mentioned it earlier, like, most of the things that we're hearing about that are, you know, problematic, chaotic, and drama and whatever have you is stuff that is outdated. It's some people have somehow found a space within themselves to harbor, these feelings, these emotions, these whatever. And yeah, that's why I was there before. I was like, I wish that hurt people would feel. And I think that there would be an opportunity for some. Thank you very kindly. I think that there would be some opportunity.
All right, well, link is in the download file. We're transitioning over to the rational discourse here.
Conversation. So, Pacific time to start the chat. We just like to start this a little early because it gives people a head start. So people who play it, you want to go into the room that doesn't have a chat. When you start to come to the power. So, that's really important.
Hey Brad, I really enjoyed your reading of that book. It's one of my favorite books. I thank you for reading it, and I think that when a lot of people heard you, reading from a book, everybody was, titillated. Let's just put it that way.
I think it has a lot of constructs that are not relevant to the world, and I think it just uses up a lot of hyperbole to say, hey, we can just be better, but in reality it takes none of the constructs from everyday life and applies them.
Friends in the group.
I also think that it's not reading that most of the people, most of the people don't understand the interpretation. It's been revised in multiple languages, and just like the Bible, it has phrases and translations that are taken out of context or what others have applied, even in the book you have. I think Lewis highlights this most of the definition. I might have the book title wrong, but I think it's the Green Book. In his review of the Tao, he highlights some of those more prominent narratives. John, so I mean, it is what it is, but I've never been a big philosopher fan, because usually those are people that are writing about a moral high ground, usually from a place of comfort, and usually from a life that is provided for them, and they don't really truly go out and experience the world. Similar to Marx, he was always cared for by somebody else. He lived off of a rich friend, and I don't take a lot of what they say seriously.
I just want to welcome people. We do have about 6 minutes before we officially kick this stuff off, but we got an interesting topic. We got a poll up top if people want to respond to it. Topic in the room: should Ukraine give up land to Russia? The choices are not one single inch, if it saves lives, sure, or it belongs to Russia. If you've got other thoughts on that, you can put those in the chat. If you want to talk about this topic, go ahead and raise your hand. We're gonna just kind of keep some small talk going until it's time to get going. Once we hit 2:00, I'll let my friend Anson here just kind of get us started with his initial thoughts on what he thinks about the topic. But let's just have a little bit of small talk, and I'll let you guys know at 2:00, and Anson will get us kicked off.
Just to clarify for me, Roger, that tax thing is off the table for today, or did I get the date wrong?
It was supposed to be today, but Alan didn't message me, so I don't know exactly what happened with that. It might have happened while we were crashing out in the other room, so we may have missed it.
Okay.
Because I know Alan had popped into that other room and then he disappeared, so we may have missed it. Oh, we got Abby here. Hopefully she comes up. That would be great.
I'd like to give a little bit of a reminder for hydration. Drink your water.
Or Diet Coke.
Whatever liquid makes you happy.
Abby, you missed some fun rooms earlier. We had a good mix of crashing out and reconciliation. I think some progress was made in that other room. I don't know if you guys agree.
Who were the actors?
Brad was probably the star of the show today. I'm gonna have to say, Brad, were you the star of the show today?
I suppose.
Yeah, Brad was in Brad form. Let's just put it that way. He was Brad now.
I'm saluting you, Brad, from here.
Okay, we got a few minutes. We're gonna let some people pile in. I'm gonna reading out loud to each other, and we got through it over the last couple days. We're gonna start doing this every single day, but I think you would be a welcome addition there. Be nice.
Are you reading like Lady Charlie's Lover, or like what are we reading?
John, would you like to share?
It's John here.
Yeah, we read Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, ancient Chinese philosophy book about the Tao. It's about governance, philosophy, wisdom, mystical approach to dealing with complexities. Some critique was that it's the inspiration for the communist revolution and that it's actually an anarchical book. But I do think in Saul Alinsky's book, he also references it in Rules for Radicals. So I think it's an important document to study because it's useful in terms of either knowing the enemy or knowing yourself. So that's the book we completed today. It took us 2 days to read it.
That sounds fantastic. I mean, it sounds like it's knowing your enemy, the art of war.
That'll be our next book, by the way, Abby.
Yeah, Rules for Radical, that's an excellent choice.
No, the next book's going to be The Art of War.
Since there's so many people, like we used to have them, I don't know if they exist on here, but there's so many people that espouse these grand ideas about anarchy, socialism. Why not like throw Joseph Stalin's book out there? Lenin, why not? So his others, a review of Stalin out there. This will give insight to a lot of how some of those virtue signaling policies lead to the outcome under Stalin.
Yeah, I think part of the deal would be another fun one here, just because of the divisiveness around the author. I want to turn this over to Anson. Anson, the topic of the room, should Ukraine give up land to Russia? Why don't you go ahead and kick us off with some initial thoughts? And I like the framing that you do of these conversations. So if you want to do that, that'd be great.
Well, I'm not going to. I want to.
Oh, you muted yourself.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay.
Oh, I think you're doing the glitch where it mutes you. Because you started speaking and then you muted yourself. All right. Well, okay, are you back? You may have to leave and come back, Anson. You may have to leave and come back to correct that. There we go. We'll get him back here, and then typically when we do these rooms, Anson just likes to get everybody to agree, is there a problem? And then go from there with opinions. Anson, go ahead. guess we'll get started without him. And when he comes back, we'll welcome him to jump back in. The question for the room, should Ukraine give up?
Yeah. There you go. I think you're back. Or maybe not. Alright, I'm just going to get started, and then Answer, you'll have to figure out your technical challenges. We'll definitely welcome you once you do. So, should Ukraine give up land to Russia? I think we have to ask ourselves, what is at stake? On one hand, you have a tyrannical leader who is invaded his neighboring country, who's trying to invade a sovereign nation in Europe. And then, on the other hand, you have the reality that in order for Ukraine to continue this fight, they're going to have to be highly subsidized by the United States, European allies, in order to continue to wage this war. Now, the people in Ukraine may want to fight, but in order to do so, in order to have a chance, they do need the right weapons in order to sustain the fight. So this brings in lots of questions. I think it's righteous to fight against these tyrannical Russian bullies. There might be a practical piece, though, where some lives could be saved. And so I think the conversation today is really to figure out what precedent does it set if an invading force can then get land and can get the nation that was attacked to surrender land. Is that a wise thing to do? Those are my questions. And Anson, let's see if you're back and see if you got a microphone.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank God.
Okay. I'm not going to vote yet. I want to hear what the room has to say. You're right. There's the old altruistic. No way are we going to let Russia get away with it. We're going to fight until we drive them back to their original borders before 2014, including Crimea. But I don't see how that is possible in any way, shape, or form other than NATO entering the war, full scale, conventional war, to assist Ukraine to drive Russia back to the pre-2014 boundaries. So, and I don't see any conceivable way other than the collapse of Russia. And we strangled them for so long with sanctions and all the other things. But how long is that going to take? Years, in my opinion, particularly as long as they have support from China, Iran to a degree, etc. I don't see Russia throwing in the towel anytime in the coming several years. If we want peace, Ukraine's going to have to give up with it. Did everybody hear what I said?
I think they did. Yeah, let's go ahead and get something
First, right now, we're aware that Zelensky has got about 92% of his resources and capabilities that he has been offered. No other nation seems to really want to reinforce the lines that Ukraine has tried to do. Their military tactics are subpar at best. It seems that Russia was doing a different type of campaign, and Zelensky bit into it instead of actually, utilizing, various other operations to expel Russia out of their territory. They've also faced some constraints from European nations as well as the U.S., particularly under Biden, about some of the tactics they wanted to take. And despite some of the tactics that they did take, it still has not relented with Russia. Zelensky now is in forced conscript. He's waived a lot of, quote, Ukraine constitutional, end quote, policies. He's removed those from the
as long as they have the might to do so, that they ought to.
No, I don't think it's on a moral front. This is the problem with wars. Everybody tries to in a very bad spot, and I don't think it's right of Russia. But at the onset, like the U.S. shouldn't have held up weapon systems if they were so worried about it for 6 months. That occurred under Biden's administration. He held weapons. He held back supplies. He held back things. Europe held back things. They couldn't get on board and decide what they wanted to do. They wanted to play games. And so now you have a horrible deal that's going to be presented to the Ukrainians, and they're going to lose. And if they stay in the fight, I mean, it's a war of attrition. Russia's just bigger. Ukraine does not have the capabilities to go much longer. I would say maybe a couple of years. They could probably put up an IRA type style resistance when Russia takes over the territory. But I mean, in the end, the results are going to be the same. Russia's going to come out on top of this. And that's a shame because the U.S. fucked up. We did another Vietnam, except we put it in Ukraine.
Hey, moderators, this is John. I'm ready to go. If you can put me in the queue.
Yeah, please do. Jump in.
So I use X. My account is in my profile. It's John Kitover IL for Illinois. These are the queries I asked Grok on X Spaces. Hey Grok, tell me the Ukrainian and Russian war casualties with top 10 incidents or battles. Should Ukraine give Russia land for a lasting peace deal? Is Zelensky or Putin an honest, good faith actor? The latest estimates, June of 2025, Russia had 250,000 killed, 950,000 total casualties. Ukraine military had 100,000 killed, 400,000 total in the war so far. Civilians, 13,000 killed and 33,000 injured. The top battles are Bakhmut, Mariupol, Sverdlovsk, Lysychansk, Avdiivka, Soledar, Kyiv, Kharkiv, Volodar, Kharkiv Yar. Ukraine shouldn't concede territory. It rewards aggression, and Putin won't honor deals. Putin acts in bad faith historically. Zelensky is more transparent but pragmatic. Then I asked, hey Grok, tell me the contrarian position of why Zelensky should step down as president and give up land to Ukraine for a lasting peace. This is what Grok says. This is the contrarian view. Zelensky prolongs war by rejecting realpolitik. Russia won't retreat. So conceding occupied Donbass, Crimea, ethnically Russian per polls, saves lives and the economy. His expired term erodes legitimacy. Resignation enables pragmatic successor for honored peace deal, backed by Rubio's Sachs analysis. So that's what AI says.
Here's the best outcome that could happen. We know Putin's not long-lived, John. My best guess is, and I don't know who's going to win in the wings under Putin. It could be I can't say his name, but it could be the fanatical guy that's even worse than Putin. Or it could be an overwhelming sense of the Russian people say, hey, no, this is not going to happen. Or maybe there's some shit. But in reality, accept the terms now and then wait till Putin is dead and then seek pressure to basically get those territories back under Ukraine. That's the best avenue that I see for Ukraine currently. And I don't know if Captain agrees with that.
I'm still waiting to hear somebody to suggest that the moral route is the only route possible, and therefore war must continue, but with more money, more weapons, more whatever other than boots on the ground from NATO, which would include the United States. Can anybody make a rational argument that will work, and how long will the war last if they make that rational argument? I don't think, as long as Putin's in power, that he is going to give up land that Russia currently occupies. He may give up a line here or a line there, but he certainly is not going to give up Crimea. He's not going to give up Sevastopol, all of those things. And if we just wait out Putin's death, or conceivably, maybe, very unlikely, but conceivably his overthrow by the Russian people, unless somebody has a crystal keep fighting. We are in the right, therefore, we're going to wait for the equivalent of Washington crossing the Delaware and Valley Forge, or on the other hand, the practicality of it all. And don't forget, if this war continues, how assured are we that the stalemate will hold? And if the stalemate doesn't hold, and by stalemate I mean basically, the current boundaries of the battle lines of the war, where Russia is gaining, yards, not miles, to a degree. But if that stalemate breaks down, Russia might go all the way to the Kitover River. Hell, it might go all the way to the DM. So if we keep fighting, you've got to hold out the possibility that the stalemate will break down in favor of Russia. And what are you going to do then? Which would be a hell of a lot worse than what the current situation is. So again, this is morality versus practicality. I sure want to hear somebody provide a rational argument that we can hold our moral ground, and here is the path forward to win the war on the left. Anybody come up with a construct where that is a rational possibility?
Well, I don't think I would want to make that argument. What I would suggest, though, is that if it's the NATO position or the U.S. position, that since Putin has acted so belligerently, that we take advantage of the opportunity to weaken them. It will never get less expensive to kill Russian soldiers than it is right now. And that expense in terms of American blood and in terms of American dollars. If the goal of the West is to weaken Russia, specifically their military might, this is the cheapest that we'll ever be able to do. We might be looking at this as a gift, and the longer it goes on, sure, it's expensive, but it's less expensive than any direct who didn't have the luxury to lose soldiers. They are in trouble. They have a demographic problem, and this only makes their demographic problem worse. And so again, depending on what our goal is, we might be achieving it.
Not as a Trump, but the U.S. dropping the U.S. should give what they need to finish out. Like Ukraine is small and things like that. But Russia is not, this is no big deal for Russia. They do shit down, so their economy is not going to be great. So, like, so they got a great position that they just said. So, but I don't think Trump, one of the reasons that they're not great is I think that's why Trump is not going to go to Ukraine. But I wouldn't be support Russia.
Wait, can I just hear you say candle and walk? Somebody said. You don't remember? No, I can't remember. I know I wasn't confused. I heard it say like that. Okay, that's okay.
So, can I disagree with you, Captain? Sir, I had heard
want the access to the sea ports, the deep water ports, to be hindered by anybody, particularly Ukraine, who's vying to join alliances with Europe and the U.S. and broader trade routes. The only reason I say this is like when Kazakhstan with the U.S. started to make inroads there for trade agreements, Russia came in, and even with China trying to go toe to toe with the U.S. for agreements, Russia came in and squashed all, and so that nation lost the opportunities to trade with the U.S., Western alliances, and Eastern ones. So I think it's more about economics and the potential for the money for Russia, and I think that's what the movie is really truly focused on. I said this at the start of the war, and that so far has played out how I thought it would go, but it's always been my memory to me that for the people that believe he would march all the way there to Kiev, like if that was the case, he could have easily taken. He didn't have to hold back, and he could have cut off the airdrops, he could have cut off even the western routes that brought supplies in, and he could have cut off the energy and water sections, and he never did. I don't know if he's just dumb. Also, he's like, what, 75 years old? He is technically, like, let's call it what it is. I mean, unless there's some miracle cure in Russia that keeps guys, forever 150 years old. I mean, he is getting older. He is going to be prone to infirmities that affect old age. He's going to be prone to sicknesses. At some point, the man is going to die and have to relinquish power. I doubt he makes it to 2030, but we can see. I mean, he could be 80 years old. It's not unheard of, but I just don't see him retaining power that long.
So, how did you vote, Brad? Are you saying don't get an inch and any reform with the expectation that we can wear Russia down and drive them back to 2014 boundaries? Is that what you're suggesting is the best route to go?
No, I'm saying that they should accept the agreement on the table and try to rebuild. Zelensky has not fortified his infrastructure to a military footprint that is needed to win this war. This guy's not.
Okay, I can't agree with that. But the poll doesn't allow me to do it because let's say that war stops and the current battle lines are an armistice line, and both sides agree you're not going to try to advance across the current lines. But a peace treaty will not be signed by Ukraine until Russia cedes all the land that Ukraine claims. In other words, do we go now for a Korean War situation? And if so, who is going to man those battle lines for the sitting somewhere in Canada, the Dnieper River, or somewhere in western Ukraine? Or is it going to be NATO troops? In other words, is a Korean War situation something that we should hope to achieve now in order to stop the war and stop the killing, but not signing a peace treaty that would reassure, in other words, Russia gets the current land de facto, but they're not allowed to get it de jure in accordance with a peace treaty that Ukraine would sign with Russia, and with Putin even agree to such an armistice without a de jure secession of some land on the part of Ukraine. Yeah, it's a shotgun right.
I mean, I'm not saying Zelensky should just give away the driveway and the garage and without receiving anything in return. I think Zelensky could ask for a NATO base directly in Ukraine. It could be one of his precursors to whether or not the powers that be will agree to that seems to be more on the table. And if I was Zelensky, I would be asking for that. I would say, hey, this is what my nation needs. Here's what we need as people. I need trade agreements for grain, production and manufacturing. I want these also on the table with this, and then I want the assurances in a treaty stating that if Russia breaks these lines, then you are going to definitely put boots on the ground. I'm not saying we should put boots on the ground, but this would be me as Zelensky saying, hey, I want NATO here, and in case they break that, I want you to go toe-to-toe with us to tell Russia. And if they violate this peace treaty, we're going all over. We are not holding back. We're not holding this.